we have some participants, some students. They come and then we trained them on the happiness of Gandhi ji. गायब हो गया।
Okay, it's great. Now, if I want to share it in my social network, I just copy the link and we are going to start almost now, right?
Yeah, you can share the Facebook link. You can share the Facebook or YouTube link.
Okay.
सोसाइटी का
आशीष जी
जी
मेरा नाम का स्पेलिंग चेंज कर दीजिए प्लीज, अंग्रेजी में कर दीजिए। तो हिंदी में लिखा हुआ है, अंग्रेजी में।
एक
हेलो दास जी, हेलो दास जी।
सर नमस्ते।
नमस्ते, आनंद फ्रॉम हियर। नमस्ते, नारायण, A.V.Sinha। गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग।
हाँ नमस्ते, नमस्ते, गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग,
गुड इवनिंग। हेलो, वेलकम। हैप्पी इंडिपेंडेंस डे, हैप्पी इंडिपेंडेंस डे।
Namaste.
I wish you happy Independence Day, everybody. Happy Indian Independence Day.
हाँ
भैरव जी ठीक है ना अब, या कुछ
बिल्कुल ठीक है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल ठीक है, बिल्कुल। थैंक यू। हमारे साथ एक और अतिथि अभी जुड़े नहीं है।
अरुण आनंद जी से भी बात हुई थी, जुड़ रहे हैं।
क्या बोले?
आनंद जी
उनको आने में विलंब होगा?
अभी बात हुई थी, वो आ रहे हैं, जुड़ रहे हैं।
तो तब तक दूसरे स्पीकर को ले लें।
आप तब तक आप वो दिखाएं ना, आसाम वाली वो जो लेडी हैं शकुंतला चौधरी जी को दिखा दें।
नहीं, वो भी जुड़े हुई थी, लेकिन वो अभी अचानक डिस्कनेक्ट हो गई हैं। तो आप मेरे ख्याल से सर स्टार्ट कुछ तो कर दीजिए, क्योंकि लाइव स्टार्ट हो चुका है हम लोग का।
ठीक है, तो हम स्टार्ट कर देते हैं। पहले
आप सर एक बार इंट्रोडक्शन दे दीजिए कार्यक्रम का।
हाँ, पहले अंग्रेजी में बोलते हैं, उसके बाद हिंदी में कर देते हैं, क्योंकि बाहर के दो
हिंदी में बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है सर, अंग्रेजी।
ठीक है, तो हम अंग्रेजी में बोलते हैं, क्योंकि बाहर के दो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं। तो अभी हमारे पास से ये मिताश्री भी आउट हो गए
जी, वो कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहा है मतलब नेट में।
आ जाएंगी।
टेक्निकल
आ
प्रॉब्लम सर।
जाएंगे,
ठीक
हाँ
है।
आ जाएंगे।
I welcome all of you, all the participants, Madam Veronica, then Mr. Pancho, then Bhairab Lal Das ji, or Mr. A.V.Sinha Sahab, and we are expecting that one another person, Arun Anand, will join us shortly. And Dr. A.K. Pandey Sahab is also with us. So this is all
Thank
about
you.
today the participants. Participants are from different fields, but we are all together on one issue, that is the issue of Gandhiji. So we all are working on Gandhiji. Today we three anthropologists are here, Pancho, Mitashri Mitra and myself. And Veronica is a great activist, internationally known for Gandhiji work. Bhairab Lal Das ji is also well known as a historian on Gandhiji, and Mr. Sinha Sahab is a well-known IAS administrative officer, but he has a lot of interest in Gandhiji, Kasturba Gandhi, and Prakash Narayan. Whenever we talk a lot about these three great people, these three great personalities of the Indian politics and Indian life. So today we have this is the second series of our international webinar on on Gandhi and his relevance in contemporary scenario. When we talk of contemporary scenario, it means we are focusing how to attain peace in the world, how to attain peace in the society. So that is our focus, and with that focus, we are discussing, we are deliberating with international participants. And in the last webinar, two persons from abroad they also joined us. One was Professor William. He's a professor of anthropology, and the other Mr. Oleg. Oleg is from Israel. He is also great Gandhian, and he is also an activist. So this is last time the program was inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh. We chose him Chhattisgarh because he is a Gandhian. He has written book on Gandhi, and he is not only Gandhian by writing a book or sharing his views on Gandhi, but he has adopted the Gandhian mode of life in his life, day-to-day life. That's why I requested him, and he came last time. So today
Narayan
we
sir,
have.
Narayan
Uh,
sir, Arun Anand ji is also here. We welcome him.
so we welcome Arun Anandji, and we are very happy that Arun Anandji is with us. Arun Anand is a very famous journalist in contemporary journalism world, and he has recently his book on Ayodhya was released. That's a very wonderful book, and anybody who is interested in Ayodhya, they can see and read that book. Then before that, he has also written a book on the RSS, uh, the origin, growth, and development of RSS. Then he has also talked about the present governance system. And today, I'm very happy that today he is giving a lecture on the Gandhian economics and the current Atmanirbhar Bharat economics. So we will be comparing and we will be giving the details what kind of things we are expecting in India from Gandhi perspective and from Atmanirbhar Bharat perspective. So I welcome Arun Anandji, and he has a very bright future. Uh, and I hope he will continue in our future uh, sessions also. As a participant, he will give us the input of what is happening currently on Gandhi in different perspectives. Now I will request the coordinator, Mr. Ashish, ji, to take us to Northeast if it is possible. If
Actually, she
technically
is
it is not,
actually she was online, but I think she has got disconnected. So I
I
will
see.
request you to start the inaugural
Continue.
session, and once she comes, I will connect her.
Okay, today we had once souvenirs. There is a lady called Shakuntala Chaudhary, 102 years old, in Northeast India, and she did her graduation in 1942 or 1940, and after that she devoted herself to Indian freedom movement, and she devoted her life to work with Gandhiji for the cause of the women in Indian politics. So I just wanted to show to all of you that lady, she is still working, she is in good health, and she is ready to interact with us and to give us some her memories. If sometime I may try. I wish that we can have a documentary on her. That is the very precious women for us from Gandhian perspective, that she can recount how Gandhiji went to Northeast and how Kasturba Gandhi went to Northeast, and she is even today she is in charge of that Kasturba Ashram in Northeast. That is the only ashram in Northeast where about 250 women are who were sometime they were associated with Gandhiji and they are still living in that ashram. So that is one thing. Now I will request uh, Arun Anandji to give his inaugural lecture. Arun Anandji, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
good.
Great. First, thank you all for inviting me, especially Professor Narayan. And I think it's basically because of COVID-19 that both of us got connected online a couple of months ago, and it has been really great learning experience with him. And I welcome all other participants also. See, I have had the opportunity to work in different media organizations for about 2.5 decades, and I have watched the governments working very closely. So and I have an academic background in economics. So when the Prime Minister took up this issue of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is self-reliant India, and then it was followed by the ideological mentor of this government, the RSS, its chief, Shri Mohan Bhagwat, sir, who is known as Sarsang Chalak. So on 26th of April, he gave a clarion call to the millions of volunteers of RSS across the nation that we should basically start a move to make India self-reliant. And all these things are coming in the backdrop of COVID-19. See, one thing is that it is not because of COVID-19 that this government has done this thing. My understanding is that the idea of making India self-reliant was always there on its on the it was always there with this government. And it is just that probably COVID-19 had maybe might have expedited this move a few months ahead. Anyway, this move was coming. And why I am saying this, because the ideological formation of this government, if you look at the economic philosophy which this government has followed, which the Bharatiya Janata Party, the ruling party, has followed. Before 1980, it was known as Bharatiya Jansangh, and it has followed the philosophy of integral humanism. And integral humanism is very much closely connected to the philosophy of uh, Gandhian, the Gandhian principles. Gandhi also talked about the Mahatma Gandhi also talked about the principle of trusteeship, that the policymakers or the governments should basically be trustee of the various resources. And the same thing is almost similarly there, though in different words, the integral humanism also. Now, what has happened actually? What does this how does this concept of self-reliant India and self-reliant India? It is actually I would say uh, it's a way forward of the Gandhian philosophy. When Gandhi talked about Swadeshi economics, when Gandhi talked about Swaraj, and when he also talked about various economic principles in Hind Swaraj, he talked about village-based, cottage industry-based economy. So largely now what this government is doing, if we look at the philosophical framework, both the this government's call for self-reliant India and Mahatma Gandhi's call for Swadeshi. So both of them have a very fundamental common ground in principle. What has happened over the last 200 years or so, it is the famous economist Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage, which has been at the core of all economic policy frameworks, whether it has been a socialist framework or whether it has been a capitalist framework. Whatever the political system may be, but Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage was a precursor to the globalization which we have witnessed, and all the countries opted for it. Now, what was theory of comparative advantage? Most of you would be knowing it, but for our viewers, basically, who are on Facebook live and who don't have a background of economics, I'll just explain in 2-3 simple lines. Theory of comparative advantage says that if a country is more efficient in producing a certain kind of commodity, then it should only produce that, and when there will be excess production, so it can exchange that with the other countries. Now we have seen that whether it the what has happened with theory of comparative advantage. Because of the theory of comparative advantage, there has been kind of a competitiveness or a war between constant economic war between different countries. And if you look at the economic history of the globe over the last 200 years or so, after every 2 to 3 decades, we have seen that the world is being plunged into a major economic crisis for one reason or another. But we did not realize that actually the core of this problem is this theory of comparative advantage. Because the in 1960s, when Dattopant Thengdi, an Indian ideologue, he talked for the first time. He challenged this theory of comparative advantage and its application on the global system. In fact, Thengdi, he was a Rajya Sabha member of the upper house of the parliament also, and he was the one who had set up India's largest um, labor organization, a trade union organization called Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh. So, and what did Thengdi say? Thengdi said that neither capitalism nor socialism is going to work in this world, and what we need is a third way. So he wrote a wonderful book called Third Way, and he propounded the philosophy of third way. So what this government is, and what was the third way? The third way was inspired by what Gandhi had said, but his economic principles were that you need not look at the maximizing the materialistic gains. You need to balance it out, and you need to do only that much production. So basically what Gandhiji said was that consumerism is not the solution of the problem, consumerism is the problem. And that is what we have witnessed, the over exploitation of the global resources. And because of the consumerism, the countries basically, there is a massive form of economic colonialism which we have seen, and where the powerful countries through financial institution, network of international financial institutions, have been exploiting the developing or the underdeveloped countries. Now, apart from Hindi, there was another economist, Professor M.G. Pokhare. So, Professor M.G. Pokhare was the head of department in the Nagpur University, and what Professor M.G. Pokhare did, he was a close friend of Dattopant Thengdi. So, Thengdi inspired him. Ironically, Professor Pokhare was actually a communist. He was a communist ideologue. He was a part of the think tank as far as economic issues were concerned. So, but he was a good friend of Thengdi, and Thengdi was on the other side of the spectrum. He was a senior RSS worker, full-time worker, which is known as Pracharak. And so Tengdi inspired him to, go back to the Indian ancient literature and find out whether there are anything which it says about the economic issues. And then Bokre learned Sanskrit, and then he read all the ancient literature extensively. And then he wrote a beautiful book called Hindu Economics. So, and that book is again, propounds the fundamental of the Hindu economics or the economic model which he has given, and he has given it specifically a mathematical model there. He has not only talked about all these things in vague terms. So, drawing from ancient Indian knowledge, and he has given an Eastern framework, I would say, of economic philosophy, which much before him had been basically talked about by Mahatma Gandhi himself. If you look at Hind Swaraj, and if you look at this book called Hindu Economics, and if you look at Third Way, so you will find a very, very close connect with them. And so I think the key is I would just you know uh, kind of basically finish up my address by saying one thing. See what has happened at the Western. What Mahatma Gandhi said, that you need not rely on the Western economic framework. The Eastern part of the world, or the this part of the world. So every country has its own specific cultural context and a historical context. So, but Mahatma Gandhi said that and he also relied on the ancient Hindu literature or ancient Indian literature and texts. That is from where he drew his knowledge. So, he- whether it was Thingdi, whether it was Bokre, whether it was Mahatma Gandhi, and now the present government. The thinking is that the Western economic framework, which is based on Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations or David Ricardo's Principles of Political Economy and the theory of comparative advantage. So these things are not going to work, and we need to find a third way. So this third way, which this government is trying to find, the manifestation of this third way is getting reflected through this call for making India self-reliant. And I would say, as Mahatma Gandhi had always taken that position, that it is going to be a continuous process. See, the situation in the early 20th century or the mid of the 20th century, when Mahatma Gandhi was talking about all these issues, and when propounded an economic philosophy. So there are a lot of things which have undergone change. So obviously that blueprint cannot be replicated. But yes, the fundamentals remain the same. And in one line, I would say the fundamental is that we need to avoid consumerism. And consumerism is not the boon, but consumerism is the bane of the society. And that is the only way you can coexist with this mother nature, or you can coexist on this earth. So don't exploit the resources. Use those resources only that much, or only use these resources only to fulfill your needs and minimize your needs. So when this happens, profit will not remain motive of uh, the economic activity. And the problem is that profit being the profit being the sole motto of the business world. So that's why we see, a lot of manipulations and machinations and all these things going on. And ultimately, what we see basically, that a corruption-ridden global economy, where after every 10 years or 15 years you see a major economic crisis. So if you want to get rid of that, you need to have an absolute change in your viewpoint. A 360-degree change has to come about, and I think it's time to go back to Hindu Swaraj, Hindu economics, and third way. So all these things are the same, and we hope that this government can, through self-reliant India, can project a successful economic model which the rest of the world can also follow. And once again, thank you patiently for listening to me. And it has been a privilege to be part of this gathering. And my best wishes for the rest of the speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now the Niraj, next speaker. Niraj,
Yeah, Veronica ji from Venezuela.
yeah.
Kindly
Veronica
introduce.
ji.
Yeah,
Veronica ji is a well-known Gandhian, and she is working tirelessly for Gandhi ideology globally, and she has a strong desire to see Gandhi as a living ones in globe. I will request her to make her presentation before August gathering.
Thank you so much, Professor Narayan and Ashish, for your kind words. India celebrates today its 74th anniversary of independence. First of all, I would like to congratulate all brothers and sisters in India from all your brothers and sisters in Venezuela. I would also like to thank the Society for Empowerment for organizing this 4 days seminar regarding the relevance of Mahatma Gandhi in contemporary scenario. And of course, I would also thank Professor Narayan for inviting me to participate and share with you our experience of our work at Mahatma Gandhi, Venezuela. I feel very honored to be among such prestigious speakers. First, I would like to talk a little bit about our organization and let you know Mahatma Gandhi Venezuela. It's an NGO that was created in 2016 in partnership with Mahatma Gandhi Foundation India, with the leadership of Tushar Gandhi, the great-grandson of Gandhi ji. And our objective has been to promote the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. We have implemented more than 100 workshops and reached more than 2,800 people from all walks of life, with an emphasis in low-income communities and children. We also have a course, a university course at Universidad Metropolitana, which is focused on youth. For Mahatma Gandhi, Venezuela has been an honor to have had sustained sponsorship since its launching from the Embassy of India in Venezuela, and the support of all the prestigious ambassadors since 2016. It has been an ongoing learning experience, which we value and exercise from our hearts. When I was invited to share with you my thoughts on the relevance of Gandhi in the contemporary scenario, usually people refer to the manner in which his philosophy can influence the political change of power. However, I would like to focus on the relevance of his legacy in our everyday life, on how to tackle our everyday issues regarding conflicts, discrimination, and communication. The current world scenario is presented with uncertainty and inequalities, where we feel overwhelmed and often paralyzed. Gandhi lived in a historical moment of wars and acceptance of imperialism as a form of political power regime, which we all know it leads to marked forms of discrimination against the population. Beyond that reality, he emerges as a leader of peace. He confronts injustice and the status quo through nonviolence. achieving what we are celebrating today, the independence of his country. But furthermore, he acknowledges that the transformation or change starts with each one of us. His life truly inspires us and becomes more relevant than ever to address these turbulent moments when we feel so fragile. Sometimes I think perhaps that's how fragile Indians felt in the face of the British Empire. There are various contexts where we have these feelings of vulnerability, fear, powerlessness that are present in today's life. For example, we have all sorts of discrimination, or the impact of COVID-19. COVID-19 has shown us how interconnected we are, how impermanent reality is, and how vulnerable we are. These are all facts that are and will remain. On the other hand, the consequence in daily life as a result of the pandemic, where we have to be in quarantine, we've had to have long periods of protection, have in many cases generated an increase in conflicts in the family and intra-family violence. We read in the UN reports how NGOs that track domestic violence against women have increased these cases in 30%, 40% in many places worldwide. So just imagine work, recreation, family and home chores all take place in the same location. Concentration becomes very difficult. House-schooling makes it challenging both to the children and the parents. You add to that job losses that add to the strain of the everyday life. So no wonder conflicts arise by the minute and violent responses become the norm. So how do we confront this? How can we mitigate the risks for violence? We have to make a decision. Do we stay as we are? Or do we find new ways to communicate in a non-violent manner? And here is where Gandhi's legacies becomes relevant. His 5 pillars of non-violence, beautifully explained in Arun Gandhi's latest book. Arun, grandson of Gandhiji, and in his book called The Gift of Anger, provides such a practical tool to start reviewing our ways to relate to others. Gandhi insisted that with respect, understanding, acceptance that we can have different point of views, appreciation and valuing each other and every little beauty around us, and compassion, all are core values for a peaceful relationship. And that way, implementing them in our everyday life, we can resolve conflicts in a non-violent way. I would like to share with you that at our workshops in low-income communities in Venezuela, we have seen how people from all walks of life connect with this simple yet powerful values. In role plays that we do with the facing community conflicts or family conflicts, they experience the challenge of not responding with a reactive answer, of having to breathe and think of the ways to put in practice these different methods of communicating with the other based on Gandhi's principles. The smile in their faces and the sense of accomplishment once they use these pillars reflects the greatness of Ahimsa and the relevance of Gandhi's legacy today. We also believe that education on these values and the daily practice of them should be taught in schools from early ages. In our experience at Mahatma Gandhi Venezuela, we have a program called Living Together in Peace. Living Together in Peace, where we teach children from preschool up to primary school the 5 pillars, the practice and the teachings of the 5 pillars. And we've been working with 125 children these last 2 years and have seen the changes in their behavior and the positive influence in their parents. Furthermore, the parents have expressed their gratitude on how helpful these practices have been at these strenuous times of confinement of COVID-19. So the teaching of the practice of ahimsa, or nonviolence, in our daily lives has shown us that it opens paths towards harmony, inner peace, and protection of our environment. As we move along in different challenges that our contemporary society has and that we see in our contemporary scenario, we see how various types of discrimination are implanted in our societies. To a greater or lesser degree, they have become even more evident in recent months. We see and we talk about racial or ethnic discrimination, gender or sexual orientation discrimination, religion or beliefs discrimination, disability discrimination. What do we do about this? How do we confront this? Are we contributing, maybe asking ourselves, are we contributing to perpetuate these inequalities? I believe that in order to evolve, we have to interrogate ourselves. We need to identify what habits we have that support or help perpetuate or just even tolerate this discrimination. And once again, Gandhi, through his biography, showed us the importance of self-awareness and self-discipline. In a powerful phrase, be the change you want to see in the world, he exhorts us to look into ourselves, to strengthen our inner soul. So today we see, for example, how strong the movement Black Lives Matter has become. It is shaking society. It stands that white supremacy beliefs has shaped for so many years the attitudes and behaviors. People are consciously reviewing what needs to be changed. However, there's a little trick to this. The manner in which this process evolves will really determine its effectiveness. If the people put the blame on a particular ethnic group and not on the cause of the problem, there will be just more resentment. However, if the strategy is based on Gandhiji's legacy and the focus is on the core problem that discriminates and not on the individual, transformation will happen. However, that is not enough. In order to move forward, each and every one of us needs to confront our own bias, not with recrimination, but with a wholehearted truth, which ensures that no harm is done to any person or whichever ethnic group. Then society will evolve, transforming relations between individuals, and that is what would lead us to a more permanent change. There's a phrase that Tushar Gandhi I once heard, and I thought it was very enlightening. He said, there's as many lessons that his great-grandfather left, and I quote, Responsibility, he says, is the most important one. The collective realization that all changes starts with individual actions and that we are all responsible for the collective. I strongly believe that Mahatma Gandhi can never be irrelevant. While there is injustice, inequality, and discrimination in the world, Gandhiji's principles and teachings will be relevant. And my invitation to you all is to follow Gandhiji's footsteps and let your life and your beliefs evolve through experimenting with nonviolence. Thank you. And I'm
Thank
happy
you very
to
much.
answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Veronica ji. We are delighted to hear you as a committed Gandhian and to take the legacy of Gandhiji forward. That's something great that you are doing, and I have all good wishes for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor.
Now, if there is any question, it's free and question can be raised. Else, we will request Mr. Poncho to present his paper. Mr. Poncho, please. Hello, Mr. Poncho.
Here, there is.
Mr. Poncho.
Please unmute. Say him unmute.
Mr. Poncho. Hello, Mr. Poncho.
Hello, can you hear me, Mr. Poncho?
I'm calling him. Just wait.
Please ask him to
Please
unmute.
unmute yourself, Mr. Poncho. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Poncho, can you listen us? Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm sorry. I had some issues with the internet connection. Was a little bit low, and also I will need if you can help me to display my presentation. I love to show pictures, and that's a way also for me to share and to think and to express. Many people say that an image can say more than 1,000 words. So it's a way that for me very, I don't know how to create a dialogue with all of you. So yeah, if you can help me with my presentation that has a
Please,
lot of
please
pictures,
speak
and also
loudly. Please speak
I
little
will
bit
show
loudly.
you about my experiences, direct experiences with different movements around Latin America, not only in Mexico, that are working with the ideals and, well, what Gandhi gave to us after all this time. So, well, I'm Poncho Hernandez from Mexico. I've been working in Gandhian philosophy since 2010, and I was participant of the seminar in Gujarat, BJP, the university founded by Mahatma Gandhi in Ahmedabad. So I was part of the international seminar on Gandhian nonviolence. And since then, once I was back in Mexico, I started working in how to bring all this message into our Latin American reality, because something that it's clear is that most of the people doesn't know anything about Gandhi in our country, and that's a shame. It's actually very sad that we don't have these knowledge and these ideas about what Gandhi did and what Gandhi can tell us our time. So I don't know if you can, if you have the presentation. I want to show you some examples of how nonviolence has been adapted by different movements all around Latin America, even if they are not explicitly Gandhian, and that's something I want to make clear. They are not always saying that we are a Gandhian movement. But what I wanted to show you is how the Gandhian philosophy and its core message was adapted by all these movements in different parts of Latin America, and they are creating opportunities for nonviolence and peace building. So that's why I wanted to highlight from this presentation. So and also, it's a call for you in India that are more concerned and know much more about Gandhi than us in Mexico or Latin America, how to create bridges and how to learn from each other. That will be great because we really need to get all this knowledge here into Latin America. But well, what I want to say first is the context of violence in Latin America. It's really difficult. We are facing, we are now in one of the most violent regions of the world. Latin America has been considered the most violent region and the most lethal regarding weapons, regarding homicides, regarding femicides, and different problems that we face in Latin America. We have a kind of totalitarian regimes that we may call dictatorships, but it's a very conflicted term sometimes. We have this in Nicaragua, in Honduras, in Cuba, and in Venezuela. We have these kind of regimes that are very well, they don't allow any kind of democratic change happen. Maybe our friend from Venezuela can agree or maybe disagree, and that would be great to talk about. But I consider Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba dictatorship regimes. We also have far right wing regimes also in Ecuador, Chile, and Brazil. Bolsonaro, Piñera, Lenin Moreno, all these presidents has been very conservative and almost fascist. So we are facing for one side dictatorships, and in other side fascist regimes. We have still guerrilla in parts of Colombia mainly, and paramilitary groups all over the region in Venezuela, Colombia. And there are a lot of mining, fracking projects that wants to expel indigenous communities from their territories, that it's mainly in the Amazonia and in the Andes, in the Andean region, it's Peru, Bolivia, and some parts of Ecuador. We also have all these problems of drug trafficking, gangs, and migration from Central America to Mexico, where there is a lot of all these narco violence going on with hundreds of thousands of people being killed or displaced from their territories. So that's one of the main problems of violence that now we face in the region. But there is also a great rise of movements all across the Latin American countries. We have, and I want to show you, but please, if you can share my presentation, so that will make it clear for people, so I can show you the examples how people is resisting and creating alternatives. And that's why I think that even if they are not Gandhian very explicitly, they are applying the principles of Satyagraha, of Hind Swaraj, and constructive program in many ways, and also based on their own cultural worldview. Like especially in indigenous communities, they already have their own ideas about land protecting, about land rights, and also about non-violence. So well, it's really a shame. I cannot still try to show you my presentation, so that will make it clearer. Okay, so what we have, it's we have popular education. You remember this idea of Gandhi of creating an education that's how can I say that have the possibility to create free people who has the ability to think by themselves and to be autonomous and to be a freedom fighter. So now there are a lot of projects of popular education all over different regions. I've been studying these from the south of the U.S., the United States, like the southern border states with Mexico, the northern border of Mexico, and of course the south. So I witnessed a lot of these popular education projects. Popular education is a way that we in Latin America we call the Naitalim, or the new education of Ghana. It comes from Paulo Freire, that he stated that education is a tool for liberation. And that's how I feel, and I think there is a lot of connection with Ghanaian thought. There is also projects with youth. They use a lot of
Sorry, hello,
arts,
Mr. Pancho. Hello, hello,
and
hello.
different ways of making youth, mainly with hip hop, graffiti, that are very popular among youth, and they trying to use it as a way of communication and to try to do something different with people. And we also have this big issue.
Mr. Pancho,
It's
I have
getting,
started your
well,
presentation.
femicides
I think
are
you are facing
a big
problem.
issue, really, really, really a big issue in you can go to them. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I just lost the connection for a moment. Okay, well,
Please speak loudly. Hello.
we have
Your voice
a
is not
project for
audible
indigenous
properly.
communities or Afro. Sorry,
Please
is it
speak
clear?
little bit loudly. Hello. Your your volume is bit low.
Oh, okay.
Poncho, ok, que hables un poco más duro o le pongas más volumen a tu audio, por favor. Oops.
Hello.
Okay, you're back. Good.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. Well, the next one, it's this is not like a years, and it's a way. Okay, I don't know why it's so bad. So we are creating coalitions all over Latin America, also in training programs that I've been participating, and it's also a way to work together and to fight together. So this is some of those spaces, and I will share this. Maybe it's too long to read, but the main idea is that Gandhi and non-violence it's still an inspiration, and not only an inspiration, it's also growing concern among movements that things can change without the use of violence, and that is a great shift in Latin American politics where guerrilla and where many violent movements took place. Now most of the movements are non-violent, and they are really creating opportunities for a different future in our continent. So I will finish here, and I'm sorry because of the network. I hope you listen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pancho. We could not listen you due to technical reason. We could not listen your full presentation, but we could understand that your emphasis is on non-violence, the method which used Gandhiji for attaining freedom. And today is our Independence Day. So we will request you sometime next time when we organize it to please so that we can hear you properly. You have talked about some experiment which you did in Mexico and Latin America. You are talking about those are very important study that you have made as an anthropologist. You have done an excellent work that needs to be further highlighted and further in-depth study is required from Gandhian perspective. So we are there to support you, and we are very happy that you are doing a great job on continuity of the Gandhian philosophy, Gandhian ideology. We thank you once again for that. If there is any question, we may ask from Dr. Poncho. If not,
आशीष
then we
जी,
will move.
जी
गीता की
गीता
स्वामी
गोस्वामी
जी
जी
जुड़
आ
गई
गई
हैं।
है। जी जी गीता जी शकुंतला जी हैं क्या? गीता जी
शकुंतला जी नहीं, वो भी नहीं
जी जी तो
नहीं
कहाँ
हेलो
शकुंतला जी चली गई? शकुंतला जी नहीं
कमरा में
हैं, अभी है, कमरा में है, तो वहां पे
नहीं,
आप अपना मोबाइल वहां ले जाइए, उनको दिखाइए।
मोबाइल ले जाऊंगा। वो भी लाइट है, लाइट रात हुआ है ना, रेस्ट किया
हाँ क्या?
और ज्यादा है ना,
हाँ
सेवन रात 7 में वो भी रेस्ट किया।
रात हो गया, नहीं बोलेंगी?
नहीं
उनको सामने सामने लाकर बिठा दीजिए, हो जाएगा। वो नहीं हो सकता है?
टाइम से भी रात भर में ना, सात बजे में भी और ज्यादा हुआ है ना, भी टायर्ड हुआ, ज्यादा टाइम नहीं बैठेगा।
तो नहीं हो सकता है तो फिर उनको अगले प्रोग्राम में करें। अभी नहीं आ सकते हैं,
वो भी नहीं सही,
अभी नहीं होगा, ठीक है, उनको हम लोग अगले प्रोग्राम में कर लेंगे। अगला
नेक्स्ट
है ना,
प्रोग्राम।
हाँ 22 के लिए करेंगे, तो ठीक है। अब अगर कोई, if there is no question, then we will request Mr. Sinha, A.V.Sinha Saab, present his presentation before the August body, and should be careful about the time. Sinha Saab.
Thank you, Professor Narayan.
Thank
First
you.
of all, good evening, everybody. It's very nice to have to be a participant in this important program, especially on the auspicious occasion of the 74th Independence Day of India. Nothing can be more sacred for all Indians than this day when we became independent from foreign colonial rule. First, I'd like to thank Professor Narayan for inviting me to this meeting, this session, and especially for his encouragement to me over last so many years since we have been together in many fields, government, sociology, anthropology, social work, political work, whatever it is, education, all that. I have for my sake for my topic today is contemporary relevance of Mahatma Gandhi in empowerment of marginals. So I can repeat it: contemporary relevance of Mahatma Gandhi in empowerment of marginals. As you know, this is the 150th birth anniversary celebration of Mahatma Gandhi ji. We will conclude on 2nd October 2020. Mahatma Gandhi was born on 2nd October 1869, and as the government of India has announced, the celebrations began on 22nd October 2018, 1 year before, and will end on 2nd October 2020. So we are in that period. So Dr. Narayan, who is very active anthropologist and sociologist and social worker and educationist in his own right, has really done a human service to the country, organizing these series of seminars on the occasion of Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary celebrations. Now, to come to the point, I like to say that first, that Gandhi, had many dimensions, both national and international. I'll make mention of both. First, I would like to say I'm from political science, by the way. I'm in political science university. I did my B honors in political science Ranchi University, and I have also done in anthropology. So, not I have done in MBA part course in past course in anthropology. 1947, when India became free, that marked India's freedom, initiated the process of decolonization in the middle of 20th century. India's freedom on 15th August 1947 initiated the process of decolonization in the middle of 20th century. Asia and African countries were freed from colonial rule, one after another. 1947 India and Pakistan, of course. 1948 was Ceylon, now Sri Lanka. 1948 was Burma, now Myanmar. 1949 was Indonesia, was freed from Dutch colonial rule. Holland was ruling over there. And one thing to be noted about Gandhi is that he spanned both the continents of Africa and Asia. Very unique personality in the whole world. I don't think up to now there has been any leader or even any worker who has lived in two continents in his lifetime, in a single lifetime. He was there for 21 years in South Africa, where he developed a country was like Satyagraha. He went there in 1893, I think, and then came back to India in 1915. So that marked 21 years of stay in South Africa. And so he had such a double continental dimension to his personality. He worked as a political and social activist in two continents, South Africa, of course, subcontinent, South Africa, and then South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, which are all of them were together before independence. He also instituted the end of racial supremacy of the white race throughout the world. White supremacy was ended, and the blacks and the browns came to the fore and came to occupy important positions in the Committee of Nations and contemporary affairs around the world. So he has done work, he has achieved something which is unique. Two continents and also end of racial supremacy of the whites. Now, white man's burden, it was said, white men said it was having they were busy carrying the baggage of the non-whites on their head, or they're not civilized. Gandhi put an end to this practice, and this was, but he did it through non-violent means, as everyone knows, through non-violent means, through Satyagraha. And Satyagraha he first practiced in South Africa. You know, he was a barrister, everyone knows, he was a very barrister. He went to South Africa as a lawyer for State Shakuntala and company. There was law case pending for many years, and he was a qualified barrister from England. So he was taken to, he went for 1 year only. That was 1893-94. He went for 1 year to South Africa. But there he saw the racial inequalities which were very rampant at the time. And as everyone knows, and I will not repeat it here, he was thrown out of the railway compartment, first class railway compartment, even though he had a ticket. He was thrown out of Marlborough railway station. And Marlborough railway station was belonging to, and he was ousted from the railway platform compartment. And that was a turning point in the history of South Africa or India, even the whole world, or Mahatma Gandhi himself personally. This was the turning point that ignited the flame of Mahatma Gandhi inside his body, inside his heart, and this took him away to all the freedoms. Gandhi also inspired Martin Luther King's Black Rights Movement in USA. That was also for racial equality and racial equality and racial desegregation. He also was a model for other Asian and African countries, and especially for Mandela, Nelson Mandela, who practiced non-violence. And in South Africa, where the cruel practice of apartheid was being practiced by the Afrikaners, the whites, that also ended somewhere around the end of the 20th century. So that marks the end of the white rule and apartheid. And Nelson Mandela, who became president of South Africa, first non-white president of South Africa, Gandhiji for him was a role model. Gandhi was a hero. Now I like to come back to India, which was the main of country of origin. He batted for the scheduled castes, as they are now called, although this is the official term. He batted for Harijans, and Harijans, the people of God, as he said, it is his word. Harijan, Hari is God, Jan, men, people of God or men of God. And it was his movement against untouchability that it is because of his contribution and his active role in the anti-untouchability ethos and movement and struggles in India, that Article 17 of the Indian Constitution in Part 3, that is the fundamental rights, abolished untouchability. Untouchability abolished, it is as is written. So it was he who inspired it, he who led it, and he who followed it. He also supported temple entry movement by Harijans in the south in 1920 and 30. It's not called Harijans because now it is legal. It is really not permissible to call them Harijans. That's scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. So we'll call them deprived persons or weaker sections or authorities. So he supported temple entry movement by the weaker sections in south in 20s and 30s, and this became a part of the wider freedom movement of India. Gandhi had a unique contribution in Indian history that he brought about many people together, many movements, many streams many streams come to a big river, and many big rivers come to an ocean themselves. We were like an ocean, a political ocean, or social ocean, or textual ocean, giant. So he gathered around himself many these freedom movements, these struggles, and he assimilated them. He made them part of the integral part of the freedom movement of his struggles, of his satyagraha, and then that is his contribution that we should be proud of. Next, as a student political science, I come to Pune Pact. The Pune Pact of 1932. You know, in 1906, the Muslim League was founded in Dhaka. It was 1 year after the partition of Bengal, infamous partition of Bengal in 1905. And the Muslim League demanded that the Muslims should have a separate electorate for the and the common electorate and separate representation. That is, Muslims should elect only Muslim leader, MP or representatives in the houses of legislatures, parliaments, councils. So here also the British followed this concept, and Ramsay MacDonald, who was a Labour Prime Minister, he gave the Communal Award. And Communal Award of I think 1930 or 30, that he introduced, he rather stipulated that Harijans and tribals would have separate electorate, would be a separate electorate, and that's like Muslims had a separate electorate and become separate electorate, separate representation. The Harijans and tribals would also have a separate electorate and a separate representation. This was anathema to the modern world. But Gandhiji was dead set against this. He fasted against this McDonald's Communal Award, and that was in 1932. He fasted Pune. The pact with Ambedkar, the leader of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Pune Pact is called 1932. That turning point in Indian history, by which Gandhiji and Ambedkar agreed that there was no separate representation or electorate for Harijans and tribals in the legislatures, either in councils or assembly or central or provincial. And unlike Muslims, this is a very important contribution to Gandhiji and marginal contribution to marginals. Otherwise, if Gandhi had not intervened, and the Communal Award given by the British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald, who was Labour leader by the way, Labour Party leader, had materialized, the Harijans and tribals would have formed a separate electorate. Representatives have been separately elected. Only that, now the derivation. He gave reservation with the 16% seats in Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha are reserved for Harijans, and 7 to 8 or 8% are reserved for tribals, SC and STs. So this was a very important contribution of Mahatma Gandhi. He empowered the marginals. Otherwise, there would have been separation, and India would have been balkanized. What to talk of Pakistan, India would have been very much many that at least not at this time very short. They stayed in Bhangi colony, you know. I stayed in Bhangi colony. Like in Delhi, also other places stayed in Bhangi colony, Harijan colony, with the sweepers, with the scavengers, and these people who were cleaning the toilets. He himself cleaned the toilets, and as we all know, all scholars, Mahatma Gandhi was damn against keeping scavengers or sweepers, professionals. He wanted everybody to clean his own toilet, clean his own night soil, clean his own bathrooms. And he pushed his own wife Kasturba once very rudely, and you don't know how then it was a very that famous film Gandhi It Is Own, that he almost dragged her out of the house because Kasturba said that he not clean the bathroom or the toilet. Gandhi said no, you have to clean the toilet, you have to do it. Gandhi was against keeping servants, scavengers or sweepers. So he really practiced what he preached. This is a major contribution of Mahatma Gandhi. There was no difference between his precept and practice. What he did, he also practiced it, and he also followed his own advice. So healer heal thyself, as he said. So first he healed himself and then he healed others. He also started Harijan newspaper, as it's called. It was an important role played in Indian history. It was under his leadership. And now I'll come to last point. Non-violence made the people empowered. Last point, it made the people marginals also empowered. Non-violence was just not as a political weapon, made them the lower caste, the backwards, the tribals, the Dalits, the Harijans, whatever it is, the weaker sections. As the freedom movement became a mass movement under Gandhi's leadership, with active participation of entire population, men and women, young and old, like educated, uneducated, whether employed or unemployed, entire population in activity program freedom movement. Involved, he became a class from the classes, he became masses. It was a mass movement. Gandhi became under Gandhi's leadership, it became a mass movement, and everyone became empowered in activities and programs of freedom. Everyone sought freedom. Everyone arrested. Everyone went to jail. Everyone did satyagraha. Everyone did boycott movement, boycott movement of foreign goods, or bonfire of foreign goods, or like that activities, and or temple entry, for example. This led to moral regeneration of entire population, whether weak or strong, whether educated or uneducated, whether old or young. And this led, women or men, this led to a massive uplift of all the people of India, Indian continent, subcontinent as it is now called now. So, and this, I think, in my opinion, this led to universal adult suffrage being given to the people by one stroke of the pen of the Constituent Assembly. Universal adult suffrage, everyone became a voter. First it was 21, now for the voting is 18 only. Everybody, every Indian became a voter and became a participant in the political process. So that is what it is. This contribution cannot be marginalized, illegal. And today also, even now, as you see, United States also inspired a current Black Lives Matter campaign. As you know, George Floyd was arrested by a British, by a white police officer in America about 2 months, 3 months ago, and he was killed almost. He was killed. Even he sat, his throat was almost gagged, and he was died. And the Black Lives Matter campaign is now raging throughout the United States of America. Election is taking place the first Tuesday of November. Every leap year is the election for the President of America Day. And just say you must have heard, Kamala Devi Harris, who is an Indian, part Indian. Her mother was a Tamil Brahmin from South, who married an African in America. His daughter of a Tamil mother, Indian mother, and she's Hindu, and Indian, in fact, part Indian. She was elected as the vice presidential running mate of Joe Biden, the vice president and the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. It marks this also has implication. Now, so Gandhiji's contribution is immense. He was a father nation. Not only father nation, he was really the Ghazi of the country. He was the Ghazi soul of the country. And we pay tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on this occasion. And I thank Professor Narayan for his sponsoring this program today. We have. I think I will pay my homage to Mahatma Gandhi in these words that Mahatma Gandhi is the real icon of India. He will continue to be the icon of India, inspired hundreds of years for him, and he will be very much remembered by everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sinha Sahab. Thank you very much, Sinha Sahab. You have given a good account of the Gandhiji and his activities. Now, if there is any observation, you may come out with the observation. Or now we can request Professor Mitashri Mitra to present her presentation. She is a head and professor of anthropology in Pandit Ravi Shankar University. She is also dean of biocultural sciences of that university, a very well-known anthropologist working in the field of digital anthropology and cultural anthropology. Professor Mitra, please make your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Am I audible,
Yes,
sir?
yes, very much audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Good evening to all of you. Today is the most auspicious day in the hearts of every people of India that marks the anniversary of national independence from the British Empire on 15th of August 1947. India became independent after lots of hardships and sacrifices of the brave Indian freedom fighters. On this special occasion, accept my heartfelt wishes for the 74th Independence Day of India. I would also like to salute today people who fought for the independence of the country and dedicated themselves to the service of this great nation. I am indeed honored and feel proud that on this auspicious occasion, and when we are also celebrating 150th birthday anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, I have given this opportunity to say few words on global peace icon Mahatma Gandhi. Although I know talking about him is like trying to fetch the whole ocean in a mug. Before that, I would like to thank Professor S. Narayan for giving me this opportunity to share my views. Eminent scholars from India, Venezuela, Mexico, and team members of the Society for Empowerment and friends. We are living in a world with global unrest, fear, anger, discontent, despair, immorality, terrorism, and ethnic and religious conflicts, which is gaining higher and higher intensity all around the world today. I think Mahatma Gandhi's life and his ideals are still a universal philosophy in every sphere of this world to address all these issues. Mahatma Gandhi was one of the giants of the 20th century who left an indelible impact on the social, political, economic, religious, and educational scenario of the day. He was the architect of the destiny of his own life as well as of the nation. He was the great revolutionary who, even while he fought for this country, for the freedom of our country, was aware of the freedom of all enslaved people in different parts of the world. History clearly shows how great man has always struggled and fought against the prevailing social evils and human suffering. Live as you are going to die tomorrow and learn as you are going to live forever. This saying from Gandhiji says much about the life of father of the nation. Gandhiji pictured to himself how an ideal society based on love, truth, and non-violence must look and function, and he tried to realize it as much as possible in his real life. His attempts and results in making this operable have had echoes and followers all around the world. He states that my religion is based on and non-violence, truth and non-violence, and truth is my God, while non-violence is the means of realizing Him. Even today, when there is a scourge of terrorism, whenever there is a violence anywhere in the world, foremost, we think and talk about Mahatma Gandhi. Friends, he is not a person, but a school of thought. He is a symbol of peace and nonviolence. He fought against the British with the weapon of nonviolence. He believed that a man is nothing but a product of thoughts. He becomes what he thinks. He always stressed on purity of thoughts. He stressed on the implementation of his words into action. For him, life is nothing but experimentation with truth. He is the only leader in the world who revealed his weaknesses to the people, and this is not a very small thing. He never tried to hide anything to the people. He was the fighter of the cause of humanity. He says, you must not lose your faith in humanity. Humanity is like the ocean. If some drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean doesn't become dirty. So have faith on humanity. Friends, he always stressed that happiness is the result of good conduct. He says, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. We will find readers fighting for a cause But we won't find a leader who will guide us throughout the life. And Gandhiji was that leader, a saint, a prophet, and a man of his word. He says anger and intolerance are the twin enemies of incorrect understanding. He says an eye for an eye only ends up making whole world blind. Gandhiji was not born great, but he trained himself to face all risks cheerfully and undergo sufferings gracefully. His devotion and dedication to social progress, to all his fears, and selfless service to the poor makes him a great leader. Gandhiji's philosophy of non-violence remains sage advice in a world where differences are more easily amplified and people take offense more readily. During India's struggle for freedom, he showed the world that freedom can be achieved peacefully through the path of non-violence. The United Nations General Assembly on June 15, 2007 has declared the 2nd October, his birthday, as International Day of Non-Violence. Gandhiji said, I am convinced that a non-violent society can be built only on the foundation of harmony and cooperation, without which society is bound to remain violent. If we argue that this cannot be done, it will mean that a non-violent society can never come into being. In that sense, our entire culture would, would be meaningless. Gandhi was one of the pioneers of environmental sustainability. The Gandhian question, how much should a person consume, still rings true today. His model of sustainability continues to hold relevance in our burgeoning and populous nation. Gandhi was the driving force behind what would later become a vigorous environmental movement. By campaigning against the excess of industrial development and consequently promoting renewable energy and small scale irrigation systems. Many of his ideas foreshadow the holistic thinking behind the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The question is whether in the 21st century globalized world, the Gandhian message still has or could have any actuality in managing our centuries, in managing our country's real challenges such as terrorism or the deepening moral crisis of the humanity. I say yes. It is indeed hard to believe that Gandhi is no more in our midst today, but his powerful personality has left such an indelible influence on each and every aspect of our individual and national life. The name Mahatma Gandhi transcends the bounds of race, religion, and nation and states, and has emerged as a prophetic voice of the 21st century. Still today, he is remembered for his passionate adherence to the practice of non-violence and his supreme humanism. His ideals are relevant even today, irrespective of time, geographical boundaries, and cultural background, because it is based on values of truth, peace, non-violence, freedom, human dignity, and respect and love of all fellow beings, and religious tolerance have eternal value. He is still alive and active. This vision continues to resonate across the world. His principles help to reshape the lost morality and regain humanity. I can say that most of the teachings of the Gandhi holds relevance even today. Let us reaffirm the values of Gandhi. To conclude, I would like to endorse the appeal of the United Nations Secretary General on 2nd October 2019 when he said, I urge each and every one of us to do everything in our power to bridge the divide, as We strive to build a better future for all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Professor Mitra. You have given a good thought to us to ponder over uh, how Gandhi is alive even today, and when there is a crisis in the country, then we go for searching the ideology of Gandhiji to solve various problems. Now, all the papers uh, which were to be presented today has been presented. If there is any observation, you are free to make it. Otherwise, uh, I will. Arun Anandji has left, or is he with us?
No, actually, there
Arun
was some
Anandji.
technical issue. There was some
Uh,
technical issue on Arun Anand's side. His net
uh,
connectivity was low, so he has left for some time. He said he will try to
okay.
come back again once his net normalizes. But I think time is already over.
I think time is. Can you try once that if he is there, it's okay. To
No, he is not
Mr.
there.
Dr. Pancho and uh, Dr. Veronica, I have to share one thing that in last session, in the first session of this international webinar, there was a suggestion from Dr. Oleg of Israel. He suggested that there should be an institute of Gandhi Peace and Disarmament. He said that there is no such institute. There is an institute for Gandhi and peace, but there is no such institute for Gandhi peace and disarmament. You both of you can tell tell me, because both of you are activists. You must be knowing that if there is any uh, institute, institution, or any NGO which is working in the field of disarmament and Gandhian philosophy and disarmament. If it is there, then we will not go further. Otherwise, his request is even yesterday I got a message and a call from him that we should pursue the idea of having an institute for Gandhi peace and disarmament. So, on his request, we are uh, trying to form an institute or an institution, maybe within the Society for Empowerment umbrella, under the umbrella of Society for Empowerment to begin with, we will have a Center for Gandhi Peace and Disarmament. So I request both of you to join us and to other our panelists of today. We also request all the panelists, all the speakers of today to join us in uh, pursuing the idea of Dr. Oleg to have an institute or a center for disarmament, peace, and Gandhi. And I would like to inform you that Sri Bhairab Lal Das ji, who is an expert on Gandhi, he's already he has started working on that Institute for Disarmament and uh, Gandhi. Dr. Oleg is of the opinion that he would be able to get some funds from UNO and some other agencies to begin with, and later on, some more funding will be there. I do not know what will happen, but as he is so interested, and we as a follower of Gandhi, we also think that there should be disarmament globally. It is required that there should be disarmament, because if the disarmament is not there, then how can peace be there, and how can the Gandhi ideology will proceed? So from that perspective, it is there. So I thought that I should inform both of you, Verinika ji and Pancho Sahab, so that if you are interested, you are most welcome. You can join in that thing. Otherwise, we are going with that request of Dr. Oleg. He has suggested two names also and two institutions. One is in California and other is again in somewhere in England, UK. So he has suggested, and they are in our contact. So if you all agree, then I will request for your support also in forming that Institute of Disarmament, Gandhi Peace and Disarmament. Thank you very much. Society for Empowerment is a registered body, is a society, is a social activist platform. And we have interest in Gandhiji. I am working on Gandhiji since 1966. And uh, Bhairab Lal Das ji, we have worked together in making a documentary on Gandhiji for Doordarshan that we did 2 years back. And now, with the support of Bhairab Lal Das ji and our Gandhian friends here, including Dr. A.K. Pandey and A.V.Sinha Sahab, Professor Mitra, we will proceed with the idea of that Institute of Disarmament. Disarmament is equally important, like uh, non-violence. It will be an giving and fulfilling the one of the ideology of Gandhiji. Now, I would like to request uh, Bhairab Das ji to give some his findings on Gandhiji in 10 minutes, and then Dr. A.K. Pandey Sahab will give some of his views.
सर नमस्ते। मेरे पास आज के लिए तो पेपर नहीं है, और मैं
हाँ,
चंपारण सत्याग्रह और गांधी को रिलेट करके जो वर्ल्ड पीस की बात थी उस पर मैं बात करना चाहता था, लेकिन मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा और A.K. पांडे से वो अपनी बात रखें।
धन्यवाद भैरव लाल जी। वैसे पिछले वेबिनार्स में मैं थोड़ा बहुत अपने विचार रख चुका हूँ। मेरा ख्याल है आवाज जा रही है।
हाँ,
थोड़ा
मिल
जोर
रही
से
है,
सर,
आवाज मिल
पांडे
रही
सर, थोड़ा जोर से आ रहा है, बट थोड़ा स्लो है, थोड़ा जोर से बोले।
पिछले वेबिनार में मैंने अपने विचार रखे थे, और आज दरअसल आप सभी विद्वज्जन को सुनने में, क्योंकि आप लोग दूर दूर से विभिन्न भागों से थे।
पांडे सर हमारे साथ दो, पांडे सर प्लीज, हमारे साथ दो फॉरेन गेस्ट हैं जो शायद हिंदी नहीं जान पाएंगे।
थैंक यू। I think I can speak in English also about Gandhi. I welcome the international experts on the subject in this webinar. Though I had been discussing a lot in last two issues of the webinar, today I have only to say, if I repeat that, it will be not very good. So I repeat only three things about Mahatma Gandhi as on today. Though your all observations have been very clear and I have understood. First thing is that integrity of thought means when Mr. Gandhi said that I'm poorest of the poor, I can live within that limits. He demonstrated also that within the poorest person's income, he can actually live. So that is why he was supported by masses. The second thing is that the truth in his talk, whatever he talked, whether it is with Queen of England or a simple Harijan of India or even Maharaja of somewhere, Uh, his talk, whatever he said, was correct and cannot be proved incorrect. That is his belief in truth, and he continued with that. And the third thing is that as a designer of India's freedom movement, his knowledge of law and administration, uh, he could find out two, three points in the English Empire where you can, I must say, hit. Though he always says non-violence, but actually the weak point, everything has a weak point. Every fort has a secret way, and the fort of English government was its credibility, credibility to the rule of law. First thing, and also credibility of not using arms against unarmed people. So that is why Gandhi said that my formula is that I will not take arms. It is unarmed struggle, and our resistance will be civil and not criminal. I will not use force. I tried to figure out these two things, in which there was one thing more which was hidden in that, and that was the abolition of foreign goods, which was going to hit the business and income generation for which British Empire was in India. So, with these 3-4 observations, actually I appreciate the person of that time who could not only think these formulae, but with the poor people of India could implement also it to a good cause. I actually think it is difficult even today for any person to take his lead and thinking with this much truth and sincerity, and that is why I have great respect of Mahatma Gandhi. With these few words, I thank you all for today's webinar and giving your questions. And I hope our discussion will lead us to the formula of Gandhi for present day problems of the world, that is disarmament, quarrel between the nations, etc., for international peace. With this, I thank Mr. S. Narayan for taking the initiative for all these things, and hope it will lead us to somewhere better. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pandey Sahab. Now, Veronica, would you like to say something on the? I said that we are, as per the request of the Dr. Oleg from Israel, we are trying to have an institute, or you can say a center for Gandhi peace and disarmament. If you agree with it, then we would like to be active for this institution, because you have in Venezuela you have done wonderful work. So I think you can, if you come to this our efforts, will be if it is a if you are a part of this effort, then probably we would be able to do it at the earliest point and with some perfection.
Ashish, Veronica,
Please ask please ask her to unmute.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I had not realized that. Thank you, Professor Narayan, for the invitation. I think it's a very interesting idea to start a Gandhi Peace and Disarming Center. We, as our own organization, is evolving from Mahatma Gandhi Venezuela to It's called Centro Gandhi, which is going to be Gandhi Center, and it will explore different other aspects of Gandhi life and impact in everyday life. So I think it's interesting. I will definitely talk it out with our team, and then we feel honored that you can and you see that we can be of help in setting up this center of Gandhi peace and disarmament. So we'll definitely keep in touch.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this, your support and your interest in that proposed center. And uh, Pancho Saab, you are also an anthropologist. Would you like to be interested a part of that center? Would you like to support that? Because in your paper, you are talking about the non-violence and disarmament in Mexico and Latin America. You have the paper which you have just presented. You have sent me the paper and I have read the whole paper. So here, technically, it was not audible to each participants. But I had
Yeah.
privilege to read your paper which you sent to
Hello,
me.
hello.
Can you hear me? Dr. Pancho, can you hear me? Hello?
Eh,
आशीष साहब अब आप इसको वाइंड अप कर लीजिए टाइम हो गया अब तो
hello.
Mr. Pancho, can you hear us? Mr. Pancho?
Hello.
Hello? Yeah, Mr. Pancho?
नहीं उनको प्रॉब्लम है ऑडियो प्रॉब्लम है आप वाइंड अप कर लीजिए प्रोग्राम को
Okay, so
No, I can't hear you.
I think वो बोल रहे हैं बट उनकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
हाँ आवाज नहीं आ रही ठीक है आप उनको कन्वे कर दीजिए कि हम लोग उनको मेल भेज देंगे वो मेल का जवाब दे देंगे हो जाएगा
So we thank you all, the esteemed guests today, respected Arun Anand ji, uh, Veronica ji, Poncho ji, Professor Mitashri Mitra, A.V.Sinha ji, Dr. A K Pandey ji, Bhairab Lal Das ji, our very own S. Narayan ji. Thank you very much for this interactive webinar today. And with this, we would like to end our today's deliberations. Our next webinar is on 22nd, that is again on Saturday. So we request everyone to join on YouTube and our Facebook link where the live it will be telecasted live. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Thank
थैंक
you
यू
very
वेरी
much.
मच थैंक यू
Thank you so much.